Hello, Bay Area. Good morning. You're listening to Radio Mirchi 1310 AM, and this is your one and only RJ Mirchita. And today we are going to continue about COVID and lab test. So, yesterday it was our show number 72, and we decided to kind of split the show into two parts. So like part one will show RT-PCR and COVID test, and then part two where we are going to talk more in detail about what kind of testing is done actually in the lab. But then, okay, more than just RT-PCR, right? Because there are several other tests like D-dimer. People who are diabetic, they may need several other tests. So today yesterday we had Dr. Sonam, and today from we have Dr. Rushit again from Bhatt Laboratories at Rajkot, along with Dr. Modha, who is the founder of Gokul Group of Hospitals in Rajkot. So without further ado, but today there's a slight change in the agenda, which is we are going to show you, okay, and we are going to show you some videos, and Dr. Rashid is going to talk about what actually happens inside the lab. So that is going to be a little bit more exciting. And just I just want to announce one thing, that if you have any questions, then you can just comment your questions live on the show to interact with the doctor. So all you have to do is just go to your YouTube, search RJ Mirchita. You'll see this live link. Just comment your questions, so I get it, we get it, and we'll try to answer your questions. Also, you can go on Facebook and you can watch this program live on RJ Mirchita. It's also broadcasted on Radio Mirchi there as well. So don't worry, anywhere you can find this program link. It's actually broadcasted at multiple locations together at the same time. So that's all. And now it's the time to invite our most popular doctor, and welcome Dr. Rashid on the show. So now it's time to call Dr. Prakash Modha, who is the founder of Gokul Group of Hospitals, and also we call him as I tell him all the time, okay, you are surgeon on a surgeon, and also Bhishma Pitama of surgery, right? So let's call Dr. Modha. Dr. Modha, are you there? Dr. Modha? We can't hear you. Okay, we can hear you now, but we can't see you. Dr. Modha, hello. Okay, let me check with him in the background. But I'd like to invite Dr. Rushit. Hello, Dr. Rushit.
Hello, Mirchita. How are you?
Good. Just give me a second, and maybe you can just give a little bit of overview to our listeners on what you're gonna talk today.
Yes, sure.
And I'll reach to Dr. Modha meanwhile.
Good evening. Good evening to all your viewers from Rajkot. It's a great pleasure to be live along with Mirchita. And today, as you know, yesterday Dr. Sonam from our lab has discussed regarding the antigen testing as well as the RT-PCR testing and the other modalities, which is the sort of diagnostic part of COVID, right? So, आज a test that would tell you that if you have contracted the virus or not. And once you have contracted the virus, there are a lot of other tests to keep us sort of informed about your status, your immune status, to be specific, that हमारी immunity केवी है, how are things within your body, have you reacted to the virus? So those lab tests would be one which I will be talking about. But first, there is, like Mirchita said, there's a slight change in that we as pathologists, we would like to discuss something called as pathogenesis. Pathogenesis is something that what exactly happens when virus enters your body. So this is something really interesting. I have a few video for you guys, and obviously you can ask questions or anything. But if I would just like to explain to all your viewers, Mirchita, that how reacts and how our body reacts to the virus or how virus enters. So that would be fun, I would say.
હા?
Thanks, Dr. Rushit. Dr. Modha, welcome back. તમે ક્યાં ગુમ
યા
થઈ
બટ
ગયા
આમ
હતા?
આડું આવે છે.
અરે એ તો બસ ફ્લિપ કરી દો કેમેરા થઈ ગયો.
કઈ નથી
આ
થતું
રહ્યો.
રમેશ.
હવે દેખાય જો.
પણ દેખાય તો હતું પણ આડું જ થાય છે. અને કેમ કરું જોજો તારાથી કઈ થાય તો.
તમારું રોટેશન ઓફ કરવું પડશે. ડોક્ટર ઋષિત જસ્ટ ગીવ મી અ સેકન્ડ.
Yeah.
તમારું આ રોટેશન હશે ને શું કહેવાય ફોનનું યુ જસ્ટ હેવ ટુ ફિક્સ ઇટ. Okay,
Yes.
I will fix in the background. But then Dr. Rishit, you may wanna like, just talk a little bit
હા થઈ
more
ગયું
and
હા થઈ ગયું.
thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
ઓકે
Ready?
બરોબર.
Yes.
Yeah.
ઊભી રહે. હજી ઊભી રહે જરા કાને ઊંચું ચલાવે તો.
Dr. Modha wants everything perfect.
યા See now I'm
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
switch off.
Welcome back. I would
As
like to thank Modha, sir, and I would eventually, but sir, thank you for this opportunity and for pushing us to, have this beautiful seminar.
Hey, Rushit, you, because we know you, that is why we want you to come up in our show.
Yes.
And Rushit is a sincere pathologist. Anytime at night you call, Rushit will answer you.
Dr.
So
Modha
because
and the
it is,
Gokul group, we have been associated with the Gokul groups of hospitals since last, I would say, around 10 years or more,
10
I
years
guess.
or more than
When
that,
I
more than
came
that.
into the lab, my father, Dr. Jayaprakash Bhatt, and Dr. Modha are very good friends since long. And it has been a pleasure since all these years working with Gokul groups of hospital, I must say.
excellent. So now I think so. Dr. Rishit was just giving some overview about what he was going to talk, and he said something really cool about pathogens, right?
Yeah.
So we will discuss that. But time to take COVID statistics, right? Like India, world, Australia, mucormycosis, vaccination, અને પછી આપણે start કરીએ.
Yeah. So I will speak about the COVID statistics recently. You see, USA is the worst affected country. It has crossed 1,35,811 new cases
No comments
and
there.
454 new deaths. Florida is the hot point for the COVID-19 in USA at the moment.
Yes.
Now coming to UK, it is 21,687 new cases and 24 deaths. In India, figure has come down little. Yesterday it was 40,000. Today it is 30,549 and 422 deaths. But still we are worried about the third wave because Kerala and Karnataka is going strong for the COVID. They have got half of the total country's cases.
I
So we
just
are worried about the third wave.
I just heard Dr. Modha that third wave is already started in India. Is that so?
Yeah, it is in some few states, but still Gujarat is spared. So far, Gujarat is spared, and Brazil will talk 15,143 only cases and 389 deaths. Australia, as usual, 227 new cases
Oh my
and
god.
only one death. Now coming to Gujarat, 22 new cases and no death. Ahmedabad, 8, Surat, 2, Baroda 9, Rajkot 1, Bhavnagar and Javnagar no cases, and Junagadh 1 case. So COVID in Gujarat is definitely coming down. So is the mucormycosis and vaccination in Gujarat is increasing. So people are happy and willing to struggle to fight with COVID third wave. So this is the situation at the moment in Gujarat. But as you say, we are worried about Kerala, we are worried about Karnataka. Now Maharashtra also has calmed down. There are less cases. but
Uh-huh.
Karnataka and Kerala, they are the worst affected states in India. So this is the statistics of corona. And now let us begin with Dr. HRUSHIT Bhatt, who is a
Yes.
head pathologist and very well known in our city of Rajkot.
Thank you,
His
sir.
father, Jai Prakash Bhatt, he is one sort of a pathologist, is okay. But the other hobby is he a kavi.
Oh,
He sings
really?
songs, he writes songs. So that sort of man, creative man, his father is. So we wish that Rushit also follow that steps. And
Yes. Thank you,
No,
sir.
the Kavi side of it or the doctor side of it?
both.
Both.
Doctor and Kavi both.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir. Thank you so much. Hello, viewers. Thank you, Dr. Modha, and thank you, Mirchita. So, without taking any further time, I think I'm gonna switch
Yeah.
and share my screen
Yes.
and start my PowerPoint presentation that I have prepared. So, I'll just do that.
But Ishita, keep Rushit in a side way like this third man so that we can ask him a
Okay.
question. We can ask him to stop and we can ask me question also.
Yeah, once he shares the screen, I will just. Dr. Rishit, all good with your screen share?
Yeah. Uh, I think I'm just yeah. They're telling me to choose what to share, and I have a
Yes.
share button here, but somehow it's deactivated. So
It should work fine. Just maybe do a screen share.
yeah. So StreamYard wants to share the contents, and I'm just
Just give
okay.
the consent. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, it will ask your permission. Can I use your microphone? Can I use your, you know,
Yeah. I think I have a window open in my PPT, and entire screen. Yep, I have it now. Thank you.
okay, awesome. Yeah, that's it. Now we maybe okay. Now this is better.
This is better.
Yes, Dr. Modha, can
Yeah,
you say this?
yeah.
Yes,
I
I
Please
love
hope.
don't
the
see the
I
screen.
love the
Cardiogram.
yeah,
You love the
Yeah.
cardiogram.
it looks cool.
So thank you, and finally, hello, welcome everybody. So I'll have a brief presentation regarding this, and this is my outline of the presentation. So what we're gonna see is that the structure and pathogenesis of the coronavirus, and something about the vaccine, something about called the baseline investigation કે જે investigation જરૂરી છે અને આપણે routinely કરાવવા જોઈએ. It is baseline is something that goes for COVID as well as other viral infection. Then we will look into something called investigations for liver and for kidney. I should say this at this point in time that COVID affects mainly liver, kidney, lungs, and heart sometimes. And now they have said that GI symptoms are also very predominant. So we have investigation for those. And what you see is some investigations for ARDS, also known as acute respiratory distress syndrome, or sometimes in pathological terms referred to as cytokine storm. આજે last part છે ARDS and cytokine storm. That is some place that you do not want to be, or you do not want your relatives or anybody to go there, because that is the kind of a complication for COVID. And lastly, we would have a look at the immunity. Specifically, why immunity? Because there are a lot of conceptions regarding COVID antibody and koi antibody karavi, આ કઈ છે, શું કઈ છે. So I'd like your viewers to know a basic little understanding about the different types of antibodies. So moving further and moving to the structure, we have all seen this guy. We have all been know So I'll explain these parts slowly, but one is the nucleocapsid. Nucleocapsid are the proteins which sort of help the RNA. Right. So this red line here is the RNA. Okay, now we can see the red line is the RNA, and આ જે RNA છે ને આ red માં છે એટલે that is the core of the virus. This is the thing that replicates, multiply થાય viral particles over there, and that is the core of infection. બીજું સૌથી important વસ્તુ છે S વાળું. You can see here the yellow one, the S spike glycoprotein. જે yellow color નો part છે ને એ it's like a key, ચાવી જેવું છે કે જેને કારણે આપણા શરીરની અંદર we would look into the video કે આખા સેલ એન્ટર થાય છે, right? So that is a very important key for the entry into our body. And then there is a membrane protein, the one in the purple or pink, how you call it. That membrane protein also helps in the entry of the virus. આપણા સેલનું મેમ્બ્રેન હોય આપણા પોતાના સેલનું એની સાથે મર્જ થાય. We'll just look into it. So now this is a video, and I hope Mirchita everybody can see this video. I'll play the video. Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. So we can see that there are a lot of cells in our body, a lot of dividing cells, and this is the virus. Now you can see the virus has a viral genetic material, the red one that we saw inside. It's very bubbly and it's moving. That is sort of protected by a protein shell. This blue colored thing is what makes the virus very hard. But the condition ma surface upper disinfect no થાય ત્યારે because of this blue thing it stays alive. And then you have the yellow part. Yellow part is just a cover or an envelope. This envelope is the one that merges with the envelope of our cells. અને entry કરવા માટે આ બધી ચાવીઓ, the sort of turquoise color ચાવીઓ. So this is the virus, and this is the virus, and these are the keys. Okay, these keys sort of help the virus entry into the cell, and the red ones are the ones that modulate the cell. Right, so this you can see that every time you cough or something, lot of particles, droplets with small numbers of viruses inside, and large number of viruses, I'm sorry, they enter your throat and they enter your nose and they enter your nasopharynx. After nasopharynx, you can see these small little cilia kind of a thing. They are small hair-like projections that move. And ત્યાં જ આ નાનું receptor, you can see this binding is the lock and key mechanism કે આ એક process થઈ એટલે the virus it goes straight inside our body. So now you can see this is the cell membrane, and this cell membrane આ બહાર જે છે આપણું cell membrane છે, and the virus has taken a part of our cell's membrane and now it is going into this other large thing called nucleus. હવે નોર્મલ વાયરસ હોય ને એ લોકોને ન્યુક્લિયસમાં જવાની જરૂરિયાત પડે and they need to multiply, but coronavirus is a very special guy because coronavirus can also multiply from cytoplasm. You can see this ribosome કરીને organism છે આપણું સેલની અંદર આવે છે, આનાથી એ મલ્ટીપ્લાય કરે and એના નાના નાના particles બનાવે. You can see this how the mechanism, they will mix large number of their own particles and it will store in a storage place called Golgi apparatus. Now you can see the all particles are coming together and new viruses are getting formed. And this is a newly born, fresh baby virus that is budding out of the cell. So what we saw is that a virus entered here and millions of such copies of new virus have been formed. Moving on to pulmonary symptoms. This is, as we all know, lungs is the most affected organ. You can say that જ્યાં સુધી તમારા throatમાં ને એમાં infection છે, you are relatively safe, but once it enters your lungs, it is difficult. So now our lungs are balloon-like structures. You can see different colored lobes here. દરેક જે lobes છે, which I just showed you, are independent. And hopefully, thank God, દરેક લોબમાં infection અલગ-અલગ રીતે થાય. One lobe prevents. Now, this is, we breathe through our trachea, through our bronchi, and you can see these balloon-like beautiful normal structures, and these are bronchioles. So bronchioles, bronchi, all the structures, everything is fine, everything is happy, and this, yes, what you can see here, viewers, are the alveoli. આને અમારી ભાષામાં respiratory unit કે each of them, આ જે દ્રાક્ષના ઝુમખા જેવા છે ને, they are very important. They are the one where oxygen exchange occurs. Yes, you can see all these RBCs and you can see different sort of structures. We are breathing. The person is breathing, and the air is moving inside and out. Now you can see this oxygen, this white colored oxygen is going inside. આપણને સરસ અને કાર્બન ડાયોક્સાઇડ કાઢો છે. This is the most important function that lungs perform, and this function is the one. Now you can see these yellow colored mucus plug. આ બધો જ કચરો છે. And normally આપણી લંગની અંદર જે કચરો હોય, જે બધી વસ્તુ હોય, જે વાયરસીસ હોય, there are macrophages કે જે લોકો કાઢી અને they remove it. How they remove it? Again, the same cilia, very small hair-like projections કે જે બધો જ કચરો, you can see it, they move. And in normal conditions ma apro, now this is a white blood cell. A white blood cell is a cell that is our immune system, that is a part of our immune system. And a as a બધા organisms hoy je kachro hoy ke viral particles hoy ne khai જાય. You can see how the WBC is engulfing all these viral particles. Okay,
I love this part.
yeah. They do. This is what actually happens. And normally, Ishita, the thing is, there are a lot of coronaviruses. You'll be surprised to know, but what COVID does is something unique. What it does is, you can see this. એટલું બધું ઇન્ફ્લેમેશન કરે છે COVID, and it brings out this fluid. This fluid is known as mucus. So inside your alveoli, now you can see how the things are jammed. And once the things are jammed, એક જ લોબમાં છે, તો okay, fine. You can see the other two pink lobes, they are fine. The green one in between, it's affected. So chalo, hજી it is lobar pneumonia. But when you have a bronchopneumonia, the whole lungs are affected. That is when the stages become very difficult. So this was a brief this thing introduction regarding the pathogenesis. Okay, so I will now move on to the baseline investigation. Baseline investigation as in કે જે આપણે બીજી બધીમાં બી કરતા હોઈએ, કોવિડમાં બી કરતા હોઈએ. You all know, you have seen CBC. So આપણે બધાએ CBC, we get it done very frequently. But what to look for in a CBC? કે neutrophilia અને lymphopenia. આ એક characteristic વસ્તુ છે સર, કે ન્યુટ્રોફિલ્સ વધી જાય. જનરલી એવું ભણાવવામાં આવે છે કે બેક્ટેરિયલ ઇન્ફેક્શનમાં ન્યુટ્રોફિલ્સ વધે, but in some cases neutrophils વધી જાય અને બેક્ટેરિયલ ઇન્ફેક્શનમાં લિમ્ફોસાઇટ્સ ઘટી જાય. This is another unique feature of this virus. એટલે there is something called NLR or neutrophil lymphocyte ratio. તો આ જે રેશિયો છે બંને સેલ્સનો, એ રેશિયો રિવર્સ થઈ જાય, કારણ કે ન્યુટ્રોફિલ વધે છે ને લિમ્ફોસાઇટ ઘટે છે, બંને સાયમલ્ટેનિયસ થાય છે. And atypical monocytes એક એવા વાયરલ પાર્ટિકલ્સના સેલ છે જે આપણે જોયા કે જેને અફેક્ટ કર્યો હોય, તો they change their morphology. So this is what you see on CBC. Next is CRP. We have heard of CRP. Sometimes people are confused, but CBC is different. CRP is a protein. પ્રોટીન આ લિવરમાં ફોર્મ થાય છે, અને આ લિવરનું પ્રોટીન કોઈ પણ ઇન્ફ્લેમેશન હોય એમાં it is a reactant. CRP is a good indicator, but it is a non-specific indicator. CRP કોઈ disease process નથી કહેતું, but it tells you that something is wrong. And similarly, LDH, lactate dehydrogenase, it is an enzyme, but it is also an acute phase reactant. So now, I'll be moving on to functions of liver. One of the things that COVID affects. Very briefly, bilirubin is the mainstay, as we all know, and there are a few enzymes known as AST and ALD, and you have some proteins known as albumin and globulin and NO ratio. So, in any disease, I'm not talking about COVID, guys. In any disease, if these investigations are sort of fine, એવું તમે કહી શકો કે ભાઈ આપણું લિવર બરાબર છે. હજી ક્યાંય બહુ તરફ, અને liver is an amazing organ that has a regenerative capacity. Coming to investigations for kidney, જેમ લિવરમાં બિલિરુબિન, એમ કિડનીમાં ક્રિએટિનિન. It is one of the very basic investigation that we all do. And once creatinine is fine, generally you can say that kidney is fine. Urea again, and more so now we have a BUN, that is blood urea nitrogen, which is a better indicator. So creatinine and urea both, and something known as uric acid. હવે આ જે ત્રણ ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેશન છે that are sort of related to kidney and muscle mass, and there is something called electrolytes. So again, આપણા બોડીમાં સોડિયમ, પોટેશિયમ અને ક્લોરાઇડ, આ ત્રણેયનું જે લેવલ્સ છે, એ લેવલ્સ બી એકદમ કિડની મેન્ટેન કરે છે. So all these three electrolytes and all these investigation are fine છે, તો not just COVID, you can say that your kidneys are working generally fine. There is not an issue. Okay. Now coming to a very important part, sir, investigation for coagulation. કોએગ્યુલેશન એવી વસ્તુ છે કે જેના આપણે હંમેશા બહુ સ્પેસિફિક ફોર કોવિડ છે. વાય સો? યસ, બીકોઝ ડીઆઈસી, તો તમે આ ડ્રેડેડ વર્ડ સાંભળ્યો હોય, અને તો યુ નો that this is a disseminated intravascular coagulation. This is a complication of COVID. તમારા ડોક્ટર જયારે ઘણી વાર એમ કે ડીઆઈસી માં પેશન્ટ જતું રહ્યું છે, that means it is a very serious complication. નાના નાના થ્રોમ્બસ અને ક્લોટ થવા માંડ્યા છે. ડીઆઈસી નો ભાઈ લંગમાં, that is pulmonary thromboembolism. So what we can see here is that lungs માં જ્યારે સેમ વસ્તુ થાય પણ specific to lungs, it is called pulmonary thromboembolism. Okay, so coagulation and DIC and PE, pulmonary thromboembolism, really bad complication. So now we have our everybody's favorite investigation, D dimer.
D dimer.
Yes. અને આ બધાનો ફેવરેટ શું કરવા છે મિર્ચિતા? બીકોઝ ડી ડાઈમર ઇઝ ધ વન ધેટ પ્રેડિક્ટ્સ ધીઝ ટુ. તો ડી ડાઈમર હાઈ હોય, એન્ડ આઈ વુડ લાઈક ટુ ટેલ ધીસ ટુ ઓલ ધ પીપલ કે ડી ડાઈમર હાઈ હોય તો એવું નેસેસરી નથી કે ડીઆઈસી માં અને થ્રોમ્બોએમ્બોલિઝમમાં છે. હા, ઓફકોર્સ વેરી હાઈ હોય, લાઈક 5 times 3 times 0.5 છે, યુ સીન ડી ડાઈમર more than 20, 30, 50. So એવા કન્ડિશનમાં યુ કેન સે, પણ ખાલી હાઈ ડી ડાઈમર ઘણી બધી અલગ અલગ કન્ડિશન હોઈ શકે. સો નોટ ટુ પેનિક, બટ ધ રિવર્સ કે ડી ડાઈમર નોર્મલ હોય, then you can be 100% sure કે તમારું નથી ડીઆઈસી કે નથી પી. સો યુ ગેટ ઇટ. સો નેગેટિવ ડી ડાઈમર ટેસ્ટની ખૂબ જ વેલ્યુ છે કે ડી ડાઈમર નોર્મલ હોય ને તો સાહેબને બી ખબર હશે કે ડી ડાઈમર નોર્મલ આવે ને એટલે આપણને શાંતિ થાય કે હા, હવે લગભગ કઈ ચિંતાજનક નથી. There is something called as prothrombin time.
Dr. Rashid, Dr. Modha has a question, so just interrupting you for a second. Yes, Dr. Modha.
Rashid, what is D dimer full form? What is D and
સર,
dimer?
ડાઈમર છે ને સર, એ એકચ્યુઅલી જે આપણો ક્લોટ બને છે ને નાના નાના, એમાં જે સર એક ફાઇબ્રિનોલાઇસિસ કરીને એક પ્રોસેસ છે સાહેબ. એ પ્રોસેસની અંદર when the clot has been formed, clot is something Mirchita, that કે આપણે કોઈ પણ જગ્યાએ બ્લડ વેસલની ઇન્જરી થાય ને તો ક્લોટ ઇઝ અ પ્રોટેક્ટિવ મેકેનિઝમ. સાહેબ એ ક્લોટને લાઇસિસ કરે ને તો એક બે મોનોમરિકનો એક મોલેક્યુલ બને છે. એટલે ડાઈમર એટલે એમ કે બે મોલેક્યુલ છે ને, ઇટ હેઝ બીન જોઇન્ડ બાય અ સ્મોલ બ્રિજ ઓફ કેમિકલ બ્રિજ, એટલે એને ડાઈમર કે છે. અને ડી ડાઈમર આગળ બીજું જે ડી છે, that is basically if anybody knows chemistry, તો એક ડેક્સ્ટ્રો અને લીવો આઇસોમર્સ આવે. like every molecule has two types of isomers, ડેક્સ્ટ્રો and લીવો. તો આ ડાઈમર નામના મોલેક્યુલ જ છે, અને એમાં બે મોલેક્યુલ છે, they are joined, અને એનો ડી વાળો જે આઇસોમર છે, that is why it's a D dimer. So sir, it's just a chemical name. એનું કોઈ આમ ફૂલ ફોર્મ નથી, પણ ડાઈમર that means two molecules joined with each other, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. So prothrombin time is something that કે extensive coagulation pathway કે એમાં પેલો આપણે પીટી જોવા મળે. અને અગેન ડીઆઈસી અને pulmonary thromboembolismમાં prothrombin time is also increased. Now there is another complication. ARDS stands for acute respiratory distress syndrome. જે આપણે જોઈએ, જે ટચ વુડ I wish કે કોઈને ના થાય, but ARDS is something that is acutely તમારા lungs fail થવા માંડ્યા છે, like I said. અને cytokine storm એ અમારા પેથોલોજીકલ ટર્મ છે. You can say they are one and the same for COVID. કે cytokine storm આવે અને ARDS થાય. So this is another complication like pulmonary thromboembolism and this thing. હવે ABG or arterial blood gas. લંગ્સ માટે કયા ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેશન મેળવતા? યુ કુડ હેવ આસ્ક્ડ મી કે ભાઈ તમે કિડનીનું કીધું, તમે લીવરનું કીધું, પણ અમારે તો લંગ્સમાં રસ છે, લંગ્સનું શું કરવાનું? સો ફોર લંગ્સ there is something called arterial blood gas, and this is a very interesting investigation, સાહેબ. આ બધા જ ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેશન તમે કરાવો છો ને તમારા રૂટીનલી, યુ કેન ડુ ઇટ ફ્રોમ યોર વિનસ બ્લડ, પણ એબીજી છે એના માટે તમારે રેડિયલ કે ફીમોરલ આર્ટરી કરવી પડે. અને વોટ ઇટ ડઝ ઇઝ કે તમારા લોહીમાં ઓક્સિજન કેટલું છે, કાર્બન ડાયોક્સાઇડ કેટલું છે, યુ કેન સી ધીસ. ઓક્સિજન
Wow.
સેચ્યુરેશન કેટલું છે, બાયકાર્બોનેટ કેટલું છે. એટલે ધીસ ઇઝ અ રિયલ ટાઈમ કાઇન્ડ ઓફ અ થિંગ, એબીજી, કે ભાઈ ઓક્સિજન બધું બરાબર આખા શરીરમાં પહોંચે છે, બરાબર છે, બાયકાર્બોનેટ બરાબર છે, બેઝ એક્સેસ નથી. સો ધેટ ઇઝ વાય એબીજી ઇઝ ઓલ્સો વેરી ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ. અને હવે there is something called POC testing. I will take like 30 seconds. અને જે આ સેકન્ડ પાર્ટ છે POC ટેસ્ટિંગ, what I'll tell you is કે પોઈન્ટ ઓફ કેર ટેસ્ટિંગ. જેમ કે સાહેબની આટલી સરસ હોસ્પિટલ છે ને મોટું હોસ્પિટલ છે, હવે એબીજી એટલું ફાસ્ટ રિઝલ્ટ જોઈએ that now people have developed point of care instruments. એટલે કે જ્યાં આપણે પેશન્ટ હોય ને એની બેડસાઇડમાં તરત જ બ્લડ કાઢી એની કાર્ટ્રિજમાં નાખીને તરત ને તરત જ તમને રીડિંગ આપે. એટલે એબીજી ઇઝ વન ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેશન કે તમારા બ્લડનું ઓક્સિજનેશન આવે છે, થાય છે, એ તમને રિયલ ટાઈમમાં મેજર કરે. એન્ડ ફાઇનલી ઇન્ટરલ્યુકિન 6. હવે સાઇટોકાઇન સ્ટોર્મ, another dreaded investigation. One of the final thing તમને ખબર નથી પડતી શું થાય છે શું નહીં, that is interleukin 6. Interleukin 6 is secreted by macrophages. આ ભાઈ interleukin 6 છે ને એ ભાઈ રિસ્પોન્સિબલ છે સાઇટોકાઇન સ્ટોર્મ માટે. ઘણા બધા કેમિકલ્સ છે, નો ડાઉટ સાહેબ, પણ જે શરૂઆત કરનાર હોય ને આપણા જીવનમાં કેમ હોય કે આમ એક માણસ છે ને આખી ઇવેન્ટને શરૂ કરનારો એક એવો વ્યક્તિ હોય કે ભાઈ આને શરૂ કર્યું ને એટલે પછી એમ કરતા થતા થતા આખી ઇવેન્ટ આગળ ગઈ. સો ઇન્ટરલ્યુકિન 6 is that chemical that will start off this whole cytokine storm in ARDS, and it is secreted by cells called macrophages. So that was it. That was about the investigative part. That was about the blood investigation, and I would like to move on to vaccine. But before I do that,
But before you go there, I have a question.
yes,
તમે pancreas નું કઈ કેમ ના બોલ્યા? Just in case, because it is also important organ, right?
It is. But liver and pancreas છે ને, Ishita, they are sort of together. And pancreas ના specific enzymes છે જેમ કે amylase છે, lipase છે, they are pancreatic enzymes. પણ કોવિડમાં હવે જે આવ્યું છે ને ધીરે ધીરે કરતા, એમાં they have seen કે liver ને lung ને affect કરે છે, but these are such organs, Ishita, કે liver છે ને it can bear the brunt of things. It can take a lot of damage and regenerate, right? પણ લંગ્સ છે ને એમાં રિજનરેશન એટલું પોસિબલ નથી. સમવટ કિડની સમવેર ઇન ધ મિડલ. તો પેન્ક્રિયાસ આમ છે, ઇટ ઇઝ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ, પણ કોવિડ વ્યૂ પોઈન્ટથી amylase, lipase, pancreatic enzyme, they are not that much better.
Okay.
So
Dr.
now
Modha, yes.
yes sir.
એટલે તમને એટલા કોઈ ઓલરેડી લેટ્સ સે કોઈને પેન્ક્રિયાસ નો પ્રોબ્લેમ હોય અથવા તો દે હેવ ડન સમ ટ્રાન્સપ્લાન્ટ ઓર સમથિંગ, તો એવા પેશન્ટ્સ બહુ અફેક્ટ નથી થતા, રાઈટ, બીકોઝ ઓફ કોવિડ?
Transplant patients are always at risk.
Okay.
That's it, because they are immunosuppressed. તમે કોઈ પણ વસ્તુ ક્યારેક બી ટ્રાન્સપ્લાન્ટ કરો ને બીજાનો એની ઓર્ગન, liver, lung or whatever, એક જમાનામાં કદાચ સાહેબ એવો દિવસ આવશે કે બ્રેન ટ્રાન્સપ્લાન્ટ થશે.
I pray.
I will tell you.
Please karo. Yes.
But
Parkinsonism.
yes sir. Yes.
In Parkinsonism, what they have done, that
Yes sir.
they have produced Parkinson's in a monkey.
Yes sir. Yes sir.
And then they have put a cell of a normal substantia nigra. It's a
Yes,
part
sir.
of the normal brain.
Yes sir.
Into that substantia nigra of the chimpanzee. And
Yes sir.
chimpanzee started improving.
Wow.
And they killed the chimpanzees and studied the brain. So they saw that the stem cells, they have put the cells, they were multiplying. That
Yes, sir.
means there are chances, as you said, that
Yes sir.
a time will tell us that whether stem cell or some other cell implant into the
Is possible.
failure cell of brain, and which might regenerate.
Yes
So
sir.
there are hopes, and we surgeons are always hopeful. You see.
Yes sir.
If that can happen, then everyone will have a price tag. Like અત્યારે કેવું છે, નેટ વર્થ છે લોકોનો કે ફેમ ઉપર, પછી બ્રેન ઉપર આવશે.
Yes. IQ scores.
One more thing I will tell you. Now they have started manufacturing child, which is intelligent, super intelligent, like that.
Yes.
Do you know that, Rushit?
No, sir. Cloning. Maybe cloning you are talking about.
I'm not. It's an advanced form of cloning. That
Oh.
suppose you want a suppose a good sportsman, say like Sachin Tendulkar or somebody like that. You take the genes or that things and put it into the female genes,
Yes.
make them combine, and the
Yes.
child will produce. They can change the chromosomes nowadays. So that
Wow.
is that much advanced, but still it is experimental. Still,
Yes.
it has not come to clinical practice, but it is there.
Yes. So, thank you, sir, for that beautiful insight, sir.
Yes.
Uh, Moving on to the last part of our presentation is vaccines. કારણ કે
Mm-hmm.
વેક્સિનમાં a lot of people have a lot of questions કે કઈ vaccine લીધી. So, one question I would like to answer, and I think this was the best answer that I heard somewhere. કારણ કે આપણને સાહેબ તમને બી ખ્યાલ છે, લોકોને ખ્યાલ છે, એક common question છે, મારે કઈ vaccine લેવી? કઈ લેવી? So the right answer now I didn't know the right answer, but now I have the right answer, and the right answer is જે પહેલી હાથમાં આવે ને ઈ લઈ લેવી.
Yes, yes, correct. Absolutely
Because
correct.
all vaccines are good. All vaccines are generally efficacious, and it has now been proven કે એવું કાંઈ નથી કે you could wait for somebody ને ઓલી લેવીને મારે Pfizer લેવીને દુબઈ જાઉં ને. There is a lot of vaccine tourism going on. People are making money out of it. But in general, I just like to say that any vaccine is a good vaccine, right? So I guess I'll share my screen again, and
People who are watching us live, I see a lot of you are liking, and but please comment your questions so that we can answer, right? We were just having this discussion, so please comment.
yes,
YouTube
yes,
અથવા તો Facebook પર ક્યાંય પણ તમે જોઈ રહ્યા છો, please do comment.
yes. So now this is about the vaccines
approaches for a
and,
potential vaccine against the corona.
yes. So what a vaccine basically does is it induces a fake. By fake, I mean કે એમના જેવું જ એક તમારી અંદર viral particle vaccines નાખે, which is very similar to the actual virus, but it is inactive. It can do you no harm. So you can just see that in with any of the vaccines, similar particles they have injected, and once they've injected, you can see all these white, beautiful white things. These are your antibodies. So once these sort of fake or attenuated kehvaye એને, viral particles are injected into the body, તમારું body respond કરે, because the particles are not able to cause the disease, but they are able to give the vaccine, and this is the antibody. This is the structure of an antibody. So what happens is that, sorry, there seems to be some issues.
Are you trying to play a video?
Yes. Yes. So, anyways, let's start with that. So, along with the vaccines, what happens is, um, that once the particles, or once those particles are present, or once those particles are aware, antibodies
Approaches for a
acquire થઈ જાય.
potential.
Yes. Can I share now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Approaches for potential.
Okay, I'll just turn on the. Right. So as we saw, we have these various particles, vaccine particles going inside and developing our immunity. So once the immunity is developed, our white color na particles, antibody, જેને કહેવાય એ તમારા શરીરમાં ડેવલપ થઈ ગયા, તમારા જ પોતાના So then they will bind like this, just like they used to bind to the receptors, and these antibody will neutralize the viruses. And when actual viruses attacks, again your favorite, animation, that cells will pick them up and
Yes.
eat them. Now the difference is કે પહેલા first time exposure હતું, and now after vaccine the exposure is done again. એટલે આપણું શરીર એટલું ઇન્ટરેસ્ટિંગ છે કે જેટલી વાર વાયરલ પાર્ટિકલ્સ નું એક્સપોઝર આવે ને એટલી વાર we get better and better and better at destroying the viruses. So
Yes.
so that is how the vaccine works. Right. Now, so this is one thing. ઇમ્યુનિટીમાં તમે આ બધું ઘણા સાંભળતા હશો કે IgM અને IgG કોમન ટર્મિનોલોજી યુઝ. IgM જે છે એ ફર્સ્ટ એન્ટીબોડી છે કે જે આપણા શરીરમાં આવે કોઈ પણ એન્ટીજનના કોઈ પણ બેક્ટેરિયાના વાયરસના એક્સપોઝરથી પહેલી એન્ટીબોડી આવે IgM છે. And you can think of IgM, તમે માનો કે આપણું શરીરનું એક ડિફેન્સ સિસ્ટમ છે, and IgM is the generalized, you could say that it is like a Bofors. It's a large molecule. It's a firing them. કેમ Bofors ની તોપ જે હોય, or a cannon that fires a lot of shot, but in non-specific, that it covers a large area. Okay, so IgM is like that. It sees the enemy and it starts firing. The second is IgG. IgG is something, sir, that IgG is created and released by plasma cells, and it is very specific. Think of IgG as like a sharp shooter or a sniper. The sniper gun wala hoy na, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are very specific. They were on lookout for that specific coronavirus. But IgM antibody થી શું થાય કે ઘણીવાર ડેમેજ શરીરને પણ થાય. Just like, if you fire a Bofors, the surrounding areas are also damaged. They are non-specific. જે આપણા હોય કે બધા હોય, બધાને ભૂકા બોલાવી નાખે.
Right.
IgG is good. You would want IgG because IgG are like sharpshooters, snipers કે જે exactly coronavirus ને પકડીને ગોતીને કાઢે. So on the right side you can see a picture of the
Uh,
antibody.
can you go to the next slide? I think we are still at the vaccine slide.
Oh, I'm sorry. Uh, yeah.
No,
Now,
no. We are still seeing the. Oh yeah, now it's
Yes,
reflected.
correct.
Yes.
yes. So yes, okay. Sorry about that. So
Mm-hmm.
IgM, I'll just recap really fast. IgM is the first antibody, the Bofors. Initial exposure થાય એટલે આપણી બોડીની IgM starts developing IgG. IgG is created and released by plasma cells or B cells, or B cells are specific. They are very specific. Specific as in કે એ લોકો એકદમ targeted destruction કરે like snipers. Okay, so you would like to have more IgGs, and IgM eventually gets decreased. IgG lambo time સુધી રહે. So now there are two types of antibodies. One is COVID total antibody. We do this testing also in our lab. એક જે જનરલ એવું કહેવાય કે આપણી ટોટલ એમાં IgM પણ આવે, IgG પણ આવે, અને નેચરલી એકવાર એક્સપોઝર થયું હોય કોવિડને તો જેટલી એન્ટીબોડીઝ બને ને એ બધાનો કાઉન્ટ આપો તો એ ટોટલ એન્ટીબોડી. But now there is something called COVID spike protein antibody. હવે શું છે કે આપણું શરીરમાં જે આપણે સ્પાઇક જોયા ને, if you remember, Ishita, those orange colored spikes that we saw on COVID, તો
Mm-hmm.
એની અગેન્સ્ટ જે એન્ટીબોડી છે કે જે ન્યુટ્રલાઇઝ કરે છે, કે જે કામના sort of sharp shooters, અને more specifically spike antibody IgG. આ જે એન્ટીબોડી છે ને એ તમારું સાચું ઇમ્યુનાઇઝેશન સ્ટેટસ કહેશે. That will tell you કે તમારું કેટલું પ્રોટેક્શન છે. So there are two types of antibodies, two types of tests. One is total antibody and one is spike antibody. So all these tests, sir, જેટલી બી ટેસ્ટ છે sir, they are sort of performed on one of the modular system, the C6000 modular system at our lab. In middle is sir's very good friend, Dr. Jayaprakash Bhatt, with the red
Can
tie.
you can you go to the next
Next
slide?
slide. Next slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see it?
No, we can't.
No.
Okay. No. Yes. Now we can
Yes,
see.
yes.
Yes. So now, sir, this is a little bit about our lab. And this instrument that you see here is C6000 Roche modular system. ઈશિતા, એક CBC નું મેં તમને ઇન્ફોર્મ કર્યું, એ CBC સિવાય જેટલી ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેશન અમે લિસ્ટ કરી છે, okay,
Mm-hmm.
including the antibodies, all these investigation are performed in this single, there are two instruments, but in these instruments.
You mean
એટલે
on these two instruments એ બધા જ ટેસ્ટ થશે એવું?
આ બેમાં બધા જ થશે. એકચ્યુઅલી
Oh.
એવું છે કે હવે જે સિસ્ટમ આવે છે ને એમાં મોડ્યુલર સિસ્ટમ છે કે ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ્સ આખા મોડ્યુલ હોય ને એની અંદર નંબર ઓફ ટેસ્ટ આર ઇન્ક્રીઝ. So now we have two such instruments. One is at our lab and one is Sanjeevani Metropolis. And these are very good instruments. Why I'm showing this is that you can imagine કે બધા જ ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેશન તમે એક સાઈડ, this year is sample handler. તમને મારો એરો દેખાય છે? Here is the sample handler, and this sample handler here
Yeah.
will perform all the investigation. And this is sir's very good friend, right in the center, the one with the red tie, Dr. Jayaprakash Bhatt. And this is our lab's biochem India. And I guess that was about it. Thank you, Chita, and thank you, sir, for having me. I'll just get back to yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so
excellent
much.
presentation.
Yeah.
Excellent
This
presentation.
was really nice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And we enjoy the spice part of the. We enjoy the antibody part of it. But one thing I want to ask you, which it is for the common man,
Yes, sir.
that suppose we have completed 2 doses,
Yes, sir.
2 doses of vaccine,
Yes, sir.
still we are fear about the third dose, a third wave of COVID.
Yes, sir.
So, do you suggest booster dose? Because in UK, some people has taken booster dose of vaccine, that is third dose of vaccine.
Yes. So first of all,
what do you do?
I would tell one thing about vaccine is that some people have a misconception કે vaccine લ્યો ને એટલે હવે you are protected, હવે તમને કોરોના થશે જ નહીં. Whereas the truth is કે તમે તમારી ઇમ્યુનિટી સ્ટેટસ પ્રમાણે લેટ અસ ઇમેજિન કે તમે વેક્સિન નથી લીધી, તો વેક્સિન નથી લીધી and in that status like એટલે જે તમારી ઇન્ટેન્સિટી છે એ ઓછી થઈ જાય. So what vaccine will do is it will just reduce the severity and the time frame. But every vaccinated individuals, including all of us, are still prone to get COVID. ખાલી આપણને ઓછા સમય સુધી થાય ને આપણને કોમ્પ્લિકેશન ના થાય, you know. So that is the only thing that vaccine does. Nothing can protect the virus from getting inside and infecting. એકવાર અંદર આવ્યો પછી આપણી જે છે ને ઓલા you know snipers and cannons and bofors એ બધા રેડી બેઠા છે, પણ જે થોડા ટાઈમ માટે અંદર હશે તમે લેશો ખરા ને તમે થોડું ઇન્ફેક્ટ પણ કરી શકશો. That is number one. And booster dose, sir, honestly, scientifically it is true કે જેવા બી booster dose આવે it would improve your immunity. But again, there are some things like કે આટલા population ને vaccinate કેવી રીતે કરવું, booster dose કેવી રીતે આપવા. So to answer sir's question, booster dose is always good. પણ ઘણી વાર એવું હોય કે 80% પહોંચી ગયો હોય સાહેબ અને આમ 75% 75 થી 90% સુધી લાવે booster dose. So maybe, you know, governments and everybody, they might decide કે okay જરૂરિયાત છે કે નહીં. પણ if given, booster dose is definitely more protective than without just 2 doses.
One more question, Rushit.
Yes, sir.
Is, suppose I have taken Covishield first.
Yes, sir.
As a first dose.
Yes, sir.
Second dose, I want to have a Covaxin or Pfizer vaccine or XYZ vaccine.
Yes, sir.
Whether it is advisable or I must go for Covishield only.
Sir, એવું કહી શકાય કે because Covishield વાયરસનું RNA, તો એની અંદર જે વાયરસનું સ્ટ્રક્ચર છે ને એ અલગ અલગ છે, રાઈટ? સો once your body recognizes one part of the virus and an immune response happen, a second time it is the same, you know, vaccine, then maybe જે આમનો કહેવાય આપણે કે આ પાછો આ જ આવ્યો અને ઇમ્યુન રિસ્પોન્સ થોડોક સ્લાઇટલી બેટર થાય. પણ if available, you can take any vaccine. If you want, you can take any vaccine. So it is more like taking a different vaccine is nothing but not advisable. It can be taken and it is good. But if you take the same vaccine, maybe I can assume that immunity would recognize it. કે આ જે પેલા આવ્યું હતું ને આ exactly એ જ વાળું છે. But again, the other side is I'm being really honest here કે આ મેં મારું assumption છે. આ સાહેબનો ક્વેશ્ચન બહુ અઘરો છે અને મેં એનું કોઈ રિસર્ચ કે વાંચેલું નથી કે એકમાંથી બીજી લ્યો તો એનો શું રિસ્પોન્સ આવે. બટ આમ મેકિંગ એન assumption based on my knowledge કે ઇમ્યુન સિસ્ટમ સેમ મોલેક્યુલને રેકગ્નાઇઝ વહેલા કરી લે એટલે થોડીક પ્રોસેસમાં ઇમ્યુનિટી બિલ્ડઅપ મે બી લિટલ બિટ બેટર.
And last one question only.
Yes, sir.
Is about vaccination in kids, pediatrics.
Yes, sir.
What is the status now? They are bringing the vaccine within a month or two. That is what.
Yes, sir. And they have started. Sir, kids ne છે ને sir એટલા માટે okay. And this interesting thing, kids have I think till the age of around 12 years or 14 years, they have this is somewhere where we have a thyroid gland, and kids have another gland called thymus gland. આ જે thymus gland છે ને, it is one of the very developing sort of immunity નું એક lymphocytes નું collection છે. Because kids have these, they are very immune naturally. Vaccine everybody is required. પણ છોકરાઓમાં સાહેબ ઇમ્યુનિટી એટલી સરસ હોય છે. આપને સાહેબ ખ્યાલ હશે ફર્સ્ટ વેવમાં લોટ ઓફ પીડિયાટ્રિશિયન્સ વેર અફેક્ટેડ, લાઈક ફ્રોમ અવર કમ્યુનિટી લોટ ઓફ પીડિયાટ્રિશિયન્સ. The reason for that was that a lot of kids were affected too, but they did not show any symptoms, and they cry and they હિપકા ભરે. એટલે unknowingly lot of kids, lot of pediatric patients infected their doctors. So a lot of kids might have natural immunity already. A lot of kids are immune. એટલે એ લોકોને sort of last person. જેમ કે aged લોકો હોય, they don't have immunity. એટલે એને sort of first for the preference of vaccine રાખ્યા છે. But yes, kids can be sort of vaccinated. અને આજકાલ પાછું variants નું આવે છે કે અમુક variants are this in pediatric. But I can definitely say કે જે classical variant હતો, જે first wave માં હતો, એમાં કિડ્સની ઇમ્યુનિટી બહુ સારી હતી. We were seeing less pediatric patients then, but now you don't know what is coming. So that is why, sir, kids immunization is necessary, but not as as a prioritizing thing for us.
Okay. Thank you, Rishit. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was really
excellent information, and people are very happy to listen you. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you, and thank you, Mirchita.
After 2-3 weeks or a month to come on
Yes.
our show again.
Yes, I would love to.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
But thank you to Dr.
Before we
Rushit.
go,
Yes.
I will tell you.
Thank
Who
you.
is coming tomorrow?
Yes.
Pratik Amlani.
Oh, Pratik is a very good friend of mine. Yes.
So Pratik Amlani will be joining us for COVID and urology. He'll be talking on COVID and urology. So tomorrow at 7 o'clock sharp, we'll see
Yes.
Dr. Pratik Amlani. And I've sent your number. I'll send you
Yeah.
Pratik's number also.
I'll just coordinate with him.
You got it? Or you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it?
yeah. I think he texted me. I'll just work with him
Okay.
and get it done.
Okay. So
But-
this is the thing. And I will tell you day after tomorrow.
Okay.
Is Dinesh
No,
Chauhan.
no.
He's a
Let it be surprise. We don't want to share it.
Okay, let it be surprise.
Let it be surprise. And also, one more surprise is coming on August 6th. We are going to call an actor who is a doctor. And that will be a
Gujarati actor.
surprise. Yeah, sorry, Gujarati actor who is also a doctor. And now he is a full time actor. So, from full time doctor to full time actor, he transitioned his career. So, we will call him and we will talk about him as well. And he will also talk a little bit on COVID, but that is surprise. So, Kale announce karso maybe.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
And
thank you everybody.
yeah,
Thank
and
you.
thank you, Dr. Rishit. Your parts, when you divided into two parts, I think that is helpful, right? When we divide into
Yeah,
different
yeah.
sessions, that
If
helps.
we these two have combined, it will make a mess.
Mess,
So this
yeah,
is better
better.
decision that
Yeah.
we have
Thanks.
something
તમારા viewers ને
understanding.
I think how we could present medical information and in an easy way so that a non-medical person should understand. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
that
Correct.
should be.
Very nice and good suggestion. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Kale madiye same time. So keep watching COVID awareness shows. Bye.
Thank you and good night. In
Good night.
India, good morning.